Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and Mr. Tenet, welcome back. You've given us a great deal of your time, and we very much appreciate it. It's very important, I think, for us to understand your roles as both Director of Central Intelligence and as head of the CIA, both before 9/11 and afterwards. So let me ask you just two sets of questions. You have gone to great lengths to say to us that you are not a policymaker. Is that right? That you don't play a policy-making role?
Yes, that's my belief.
Yet, when Dr. Rice was testifying before us about the summer of threat, what she says is that there was indeed an intensity across the government, she says, coming from the top because the president was meeting with the Director of Central Intelligence. And so my question, just to be very clear about it, is you don't have any authority currently, and maybe ever if you have your druthers, over the FBI, do you?
No.
And you don't have any authority over the Department of Justice, do you?
No.
Or the FAA, is that correct?
Correct.
And in fact, though your folks briefed the Attorney General, you did not instruct any of these other agencies to do anything after your briefings. Is that correct?
That's correct. I believe that the data that we provide in the context of the CSG and the structure then that informs actions that people are going to take.
Right. So your principal role is to inform and have that information on its own generate whatever activities within their domain.
Yeah. Now, from time to time, particularly in the foreign environment, when we're going to deal with a foreign leader, you know, I may cross the line because of my knowledge of the individual or previous conversations, and so you're asked a question in that regard. So you know,
Everyone, right, and we know about the role you've played in Middle East peace and so forth, and we appreciate that. But in this context, there was nothing emanating, no operational activities outside of the intelligence domain emanating from your briefings or instructions that you carried.
I'm sorry, I don't understand the question.
You've answered my question. I want to go on to the policy question. Okay. Looking to the future, you had a very interesting exchange with Brother Lehman about what you might or might not be open to advising us to do as a country to restructure the way in which we are organized in the intelligence community, bearing in mind that 80% of the intelligence resources now reside outside, at least 80%, outside your span of control. Now, in the spring of '01, the President of the United States, much to his credit, asked you in NSPD 5, in a presidential order, to stand up an outside group to look at the structure of the intelligence community. And he asked Brent Scowcroft, the former National Security Advisor and current head of the President's Foreign Intelligence Advisory Board, to lead that effort. And that report came in, I believe, in late '01 or maybe it was the turn of the year, but not long after 9/11. Brent Scowcroft has briefed us on his recommendations, and in fact, we now have a copy of his report. And so I would like to ask you very specifically, if I can, and not to pin you down to definitive proposals, but really to ask you your view on some of these ideas which were never implemented. One, he says it's very important to have a separate appropriation that goes directly to the Director of Central Intelligence for the CIA, the NSA, the other offices that currently reside over the Department of Defense, over at the Department of Defense, so that you have the ability to direct that activity. Do you think that is a good idea or a bad idea?
I'm not certain.
Okay. How about that the Director of Central Intelligence have the ability to hire and fire the heads of those agencies?
Look, look, let's put all the cards on the table here, okay? I talked about a relationship with the Secretary of Defense that I really believe in, okay? And, you know, this is the kind of issue he and I have to sit down, sort out, and talk about, and I'll come back and we can talk about it, and I just think, you know, I am sitting in the middle of a structure. I do have a relationship with the Secretary. I care about it a great deal, and I haven't reflected on all of these ideas. You have questions, and I just need a bit more time to think about where I am.
I think that's fair enough, and we were all just hoping that since the President had indicated a new openness to change, maybe you were a little more liberated to talk about it now, and if this is not the right time, we'll be happy to hear from you in whatever way you would like to get back to us. But we do have some very good work product created by people that do meet the description of an outside group of thoughtful people, and we would very much like your views on it. Thank you very much.